Hey boys and girls, today is the 11th of April. So the Great Fast is almost over, and we shall begin celebrating the end of the Great Fast with the beginning of another fast for another week, right up to Holy Pascha, what the West calls Easter. Um, you know, I was listening to some more of Cavoli's "Can You Smell the Shite?" Testimony, if you can call that testimony, testimony to Congress. That was getting to hear exactly what I wanted to hear. And you listen to Hodges, Petraeus, and the old timers will remember Westmoreland, and so many others. You know, I'm beginning to think that there's a secret class in the War College. That's where colonels go to become generals. That there's a secret class in the War College on how to lie your ass off and spin fantasy. Or denial of reality 101. Delusion 101. There's a lot. Let's have a contest. Put the best names for this in the comments. Yeah, there's an idea. The first time I'm doing some of that. Put your best comments on what you could call the class that forms the backbone of American generals for the last, 50, 60 years. I mean, Westmoreland. The Viet Cong are running. The North Vietnamese are running. We have won this war. Whoops. What followed after that? Yeah, we got that iconic photograph of South Vietnamese trying to grapple onto an American Huey, lifting off from the U.S. Embassy, which, by the way, happened in Afghanistan too. It wasn't Hueys anymore; it was Blackhawks, much better helicopter. Which is not a bad helicopter at all. Blackhawk. U.S. does decent helicopters. And the Huey was a good helicopter. I mean, it was a no-thrills ride, no in-flight movie, but the thing could take a beating and keep going. So, yeah, that's something. I got to give credit where credit is due. Anyways, so that was Westmoreland. Then you had... You had Petraeus, the Afghanistani army is built to last. It can hold off anything, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it fell in what? 2 days? 3 days? All the druggies who were the line infantry in the Afghan army, the one that America spent tens of hundreds of billions of dollars putting up, they all just dropped their weapons and ran. The real army was the Taliban. If you actually look at their practices, they were the real army. They may have not had spiffy uniforms, but they functioned as a real military machine with upward mobility for those that proved themselves. Strict discipline, no drugs, no alcohol, none of that. So, and dedication. Dedication is very important. And then you got Hodgins. My God, how much... I wonder if he had to take breath mints to get the taste out of his mouth. Because that man had to do some serious mouth work to get into the positions he got into. Because to find... I'll let your imagination run with that. We're a family-friendly show. The amount of crap that man spews makes Lindsey Graham look almost serious. I mean, Hodges, has he been right about anything? I mean, seriously. Has he been right about anything? My God, I mean, the general intent in the U.S. is, in the last 50 years, for the most part, is pathetic past pathetic. I did watch back... I guess it was probably about a good 7-8 years ago. The video was actually from the late 80s, and it was a congressional committee hearing, and they were asking a 4-star admiral. So this is a Cold War, right? Cold War's still on, tensions are still up. And they asked a U.S. 4-star admiral how long would the American fleet last in a full war with the Soviet Union? And you rarely get a person with actual gumption to tell the truth. I don't remember the name of this admiral. I wish I could find that video again. But his words, 1 week, 2 weeks if we don't leave port. And the congressman just, shell-shocked, sitting there with that 1,000-meter glare. All the money that they were putting into aircraft carriers and all the other outdated tech, which they're still putting in, would last a week on the maritime battlefield against the Soviet Union. This is before swarm missiles. This is before hypersonics. This is before a lot of modern technology. So, yeah. All those people, hey, we got aircraft carriers, we come to your country, we bomb you, we are big men. No, you're not. You can bomb small countries, particular countries that don't have air defense systems. As long as you're, land to sea missiles. Like say Iran has up to 2,000 kilometers. Even if it's not 2,000, even if it's 1,000 kilometers. If it has an area of denial of 1,000 kilometers. Here's something for Mr. Ritter, by the way. He's changed his position, saying, U.S. is going to bomb the crap out of Iran. From where? Well, from where? It may get one round off, maybe 2 rounds off, but from where is it going to fly? Ballistic and hypersonic missiles that can reach up to 2,500 kilometers. That takes out all the air bases all around, including inside of Turkey. I doubt if the Turks are going to go to war with Iran over Iran hitting pinpoint hits on American air bases in central Turkey. Saudi Arabia won't, I guarantee you. I'll just go, okay, that's American property, because any American base is considered American sovereign property. So you're not hitting us, you're hitting the Americans. We'll complain, you overflew our airspace. Nasty, mean you. Blah, blah. And that'll be the end of that. I mean, realistically speaking, the Saudis and the Iranians didn't make peace through the Chinese just to throw it away like that. After all the years of money they were spending on each other as rivals. And again, the Chinese had to get involved. It's Russians or Chinese. The Russians right now are pushing for Iran and American talks. They're the ones sponsoring them, basically, and organizing them. When Russia or China gets involved, you wind up with peace and investment. When America gets involved, extermination of local population, infrastructure, and a massive debt for the American peasant. There you go. That's right. And by the way, the South is going to be bearing unproportionally the amount of trade that's going to go to Russia from China. That's agriculture, gas, oil, and chemicals. That's going to get transferred to Russia, guaranteed. The South, the old Confederacy, is once again going to be sucking hind tit for Washington's little parties. Texas is going to be the #1 state hit. That's like $27 or $26 billion. Then there's Louisiana. Then there's North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Out of the top 10 states, 5 of them are in the South. The old Confederacy is getting screwed again by the North. By the way, same thing that was happening prior to the Civil War, where there were heavy taxes on cotton and lower tariffs and taxes on export taxes on goods coming out of the North. So again, the North was feeding off the South. The South was feeding the budget of Washington. Granted, it was a small budget compared to these days, but at its expense, while the North was getting the benefits. Again, nothing changes. People should be getting pissed off. There's about 500,000 jobs are going to be gone from the South with this, maybe more. People should really be getting pissed off. Anyway, I've gone way off topic. So back onto Cavoli. So Cavoli, the Russians are dying. They can't make any advances. See, there's still two tiny strips of land in Kursk, and they can't push them out. Well, yeah, okay. If you take a little further off picture and you look at those 2 strips, there's about 4,000 or 5,000 Ukrainian troops in that area, plus the 2 chunks, the chunk of Sumy province that's now being clipped off by two panzer movements coming in from the west and the east. They're cutting off that entire region and the main one main road that's really feeding that area. So it's called an encirclement. Either he's butt-ass ignorant, or he's lying through his teeth. And with me, the jury's out. I'm not quite sure which it is. Is he really that stupid? Or is he just lying through his teeth? And I can't tell anymore. A lot of these guys are really, really seriously just incredibly delusional people. And I've ran into more than a few people like that. I'll give you a story. General Miggs. So we had this one unfortunate lieutenant in his platoon who got stuck between Serbs and the Muslim population, the Bosnians. And they were trying to hold him off, and it was just edging towards seriously. They'd been shooting before anyways. Luckily it was flying over the heads of the American troops there. So you got his platoon leader who was trying to control the situation on the ground. Who's above the platoon leader? That would be the company commander. That's a captain. Who's above the company commander? That would be the battalion commander. That's a lieutenant colonel. Who's above the battalion commander? That would be the brigade commander. That's a full-bird colonel. Who's above that? That's a division commander. That's a general. We got General Miggs, who flew in on a helicopter, was hovering in his Black Hawk above this whole situation, skipping the entire chain of command. Who's playing Army Man? He's telling from the air sitting there, telling this lieutenant who's on the ground, he's got eyes on the situation, where to move each of his soldiers and what to do. I mean, for frick's sakes, the general has nothing better to do? There's a whole chain of command for that. Let's just begin with that. And you're overriding the guy who's got eyes on the ground, who knows in the situation. You're sitting 1,000 or 600 meters above and playing Army Man. Because he doesn't want to get too low because he might get shot out of the air. He gets too low. So yeah, you got that level of stupidity going on. That incredible level of stupidity going on. And then there was many other issues. This is just one of those really, it was almost hilarious. It's so stupid. That you know, generals playing Army Men. Live action Army Men. So, do you earn bucks and bonus points if you, for every enemy killed, does it pop up into a little star? I don't know. I mean, maybe that's at that level they're at now. So you listen to these guys. It's incredible. And you know what? While Trump has gotten himself sucked into the Ukrainian conflict, and it's now his war, because he's owned it now. He could have walked away, should have walked away, didn't walk away. And he's now looking at the Iran war. Oh, and then back to Iran, by the way, one little thing I did finish. So, area of denial. So, they can hit, They can hit any of the air bases. So, okay, you get 1-2 shots off, and then you're going to have return fire, serious return fire, ballistics and drones, and hypersonics, and you're going to have denied availability. A lot of those air bases, American air bases, are within 500 or less kilometers of the edge of Iran. On the other side of the Persian Gulf, or Iraq. I mean, you're talking about pretty much instant hits. What do you got left? The U.S. Navy with the aircraft carriers. If you've got even 1,000 kilometer range on that land to sea missile, you've effectively denied the ability of that aircraft carrier to function. Those planes, unless they're flying one way with extra tanks and they're flying one way, if they're 1,000 kilometers off to do from the edge of Iran to do their bombing run in the depth of Iran, so I had another couple hundred kilometers, they're not coming back. They're going to be bingo fuel, out of fuel coming back. And if it's actually 2,000 kilometers, as they're claiming, well, there's no point even coming to this game. You ain't got no seats at this game. So might as well just turn around and go home. Go beat up on some small nation that doesn't have missiles, doesn't have an air force. I mean, that's the reality of it. So all these guys are beating themselves in the chest going, we got aircraft. Well, bring the aircraft carriers over. Yeah, sure, you can bomb some third world broken down country, you're pretty damn good at that. Can't do it on a pier or near pier, or hell, anywhere near a pier anymore. Welcome to reality, where that thing turns into one big ass reef and diving location for future tourists. Unless it got, of course, a nuclear core on it, then maybe a little bit different. Then you get Godzilla spawning down there somewhere. So yeah, instead of fixing the border, okay, so Trump is planning on sending 10,000 troops to fix the border and fight the cartels. Now, financially, he can fight the cartels relatively well. The U.S. Department of Finance, they can do that. The cartels, where they're shipping money, washing money in different countries, they can do that. But if you really want to fight the cartels, just so you understand, dear reader, if you haven't bothered to look this up yourself, the cartels as a sector, are the 5th largest employment sector in Mexico. They have about 280,000 employees, if we want to call them that. The Sinaloa cartel has about 40,000. And the next two have between 10 and 20,000. And a lot of these guys are very well trained. They're even former American vets there working with for these cartels. Never mind former Guatemalan military, Mexican military, Mexican police. I mean, these guys aren't just some gangbangers that you like to think of them as just some gangbangers. They've got seriously educated people that are passing this on and prepping. They've got boot camps set up. So 10,000, of which he's only sent 4,000 so far. 1,500 full-time and 2,500 guard. So you want to take on the cartels? Yeah, I think you better spend less time on Ukraine and Iran and kissing the backside of Netanyahu, the mass murder, and probably doing a little more for the U.S. southern border. Like maybe dropping the 82nd Airborne in there, maybe the 101st Airborne, something like a little more than 10,000, maybe 100,000, 150,000. I mean, that is actually the mission of the U.S. military, secure the borders. That's like the number one-ish mission, is to keep the government in power. And the number two is secure the borders. But why bother? There's not that much money in that, unless you're going to resell all those narcotics like the CIA's done. Like the CIA did with the heroin, and the CIA did with the cocaine. Oh well, we'll live and see. But my food for thought. And people should kind of wake up and remember that's kind of what they were promised, but that's not kind of what they got. I highly doubt the U.S. border is all that secure. They got 5,000 more troops than they had before, which helps. But you got a 2,500 kilometer, border. Yeah, think about it. Cheers. God bless.